where everyone watches us from. So hopefully we've got that sorted. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just doing a little bit of a test now. If you'll bear with me for a second. Just checking now to see if we are connected on our show, and it doesn't look like we're connecting via Facebook for some reason, which is very sucky because I was keen on doing a show.
Well, the other thing we could do is just keep going and just everyone can join us on YouTube. I'll put up the link now on Facebook where to go to.
Yeah, try that. I don't know if many people can interact on YouTube or might be able to do it. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Or we put it away for Thursday, and we try and sort this out in the meantime.
Yeah, we might do that. It's a bit stuffing around to try and get everyone onto YouTube and Twitter, I think, when everyone's Facebook done. Yeah. I'll just do a refresh of it.
Yeah.
And see what's going on. That's pretty crazy. No, we're not going on. Someone's hacked us, maybe.
All right.
Bugger. All right. Sorry, everyone who's looking on Twitter and YouTube, but something's going on with our connection via Facebook. Tim's there on Twitter. He can see us loud and clear. That's good. But, yeah, some reason Facebook, where most of our connection from, is not coming on. It says it's streaming on our destination, mate, by our platform here, but just not coming on.
I'm just going to re-add the destination, see if that fixes things.
Okay.
If this doesn't, we'll go to Thursday.
Okay, we'll give it one more try. You can do that while we're on the show, I think.
I'm doing it right now. Yeah, keep going.
Excellent. I'll have a drink, a cup of tea. All this millions of dollars we pay for these platforms and don't work when they need it.
Yeah, it's not fucking cheap, is it?
Let us know and I'll do a refresh and see if we've come on.
Apparently we're streaming.
That's what I said. That's what it says to me too. Did you re-add it or take it off and re-add?
Yeah, took it off and re-add. So
we're on now, so that's good. We're on now. We're ready to go. We're good.
All right, good. Super.
Good news.
Oh, wow. Wacko.
Magic.
Off we go. Magic McLean.
Apologies, everyone. I know you've been waiting hand and tooth and nail to hear from us. Apologise for that delay. It's been sorted out now, and we're ready to rock and roll. Good evening, Johnny. Thank you for joining us, finally.
Good evening, mate. Shall we go through the intro again? This is a recording.
my cup of tea was getting cold. Thank you for joining us. If you've hung around, no doubt you've got nothing else to do on a Tuesday night except listen to us rattle on about the Blues. But thank you for joining us. Richie Benakaza, good evening to you, my friend. Darren Familio, good evening to you, Darren. Brandon to you, good evening, my friend. We'll give you a bit of a plug later on in the show. Luigi Foligno, good day to you. Thank you for tuning in. Andrew Lake, as always. Love your stuff. Rob Fisher, good evening. Danny Harrison, how are you, buddy? Long time. Who else we got? Tanya. Good day, Tanya. Thank you for tuning in. We were a good Saturday, says Luke Crossan. We were very, very good. Tanya Corrin, good evening to you. A signature win, Johnny. A signature win. It was an interesting statement by the coach. Didn't say our best win or a great win or one we needed. I just every time Vossi opens his mouth, I'm loving what he says, and just take me through what you think a signature win means.
Well, can I? I haven't done this tonight yet.
Please do.
Andrew Lake, great to see you. Just before I do, mate, Andrew Lake, 1978 round 4, Carlton. Who had the most mark on, mate? Now,
and now we're losing Johnny because he's connected.
Yeah, connection issues again. Can you?
Yeah, come through. Try your phone. Can you
We're
connect through your
on.
phone?
I've
Johnny's
no
moved to
idea.
Queensland where the tech doesn't work too well there.
Yeah. How was it? Signature win in terms of that it was like a finals victory, I thought. And otherwise we would have been languishing in the bottom part of the top eight, which is going to be extremely competitive come season's end, and you don't want to be down that side of things at the end of the season. So that's why I thought it was a signature win. I like his theory on it too, is that we implemented our pressure for 4 quarters, and that's what I thought too.
Yeah, I noted you wrote something about it being a finals win, and I probably jumped the gun a bit and having a crack at you.
I just laughed it off. I thought, hey, he's drunk.
Well, I was, but that's okay. But yeah, in retrospect, the win, you're right. It was an important win in the context of where we are in the season and who we've got around us. I don't think it was, I don't think it was the best win I've seen. I think we played super awesome. I just don't think it was our best win. And the way I saw Fremantle play, I don't know whether it was us or whether they were down. I'm not sure. I'll put it down to us and our pressure. I don't want to sort of denigrate the win, but yeah, you're right. It was super important. They're above us. They've been performing well. Everyone's chasing us. Geelong's chasing us. Richmond's chasing us. Port's chasing us. And there's no reason now to have a little bit of an aim for that top four. People are talking about us now as grand final and premiership contenders. I don't want to talk about that yet when we're talking about a team that we just want to make the 8. But we've got to reevaluate and aim for top 4, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We do. But we can't get complacent, because look at 2 weeks ago against Richmond, where we're annihilated out of the middle, and got some record number of inside 50s against us. How our defence held up, and we'll get on to defence later, and how wonderful they've been. But you can't win games of football like that, and that could only be another week away, that sort of a performance. And even going back early in the year, the first time we played Fremantle, they owned us all night long. We never looked in it. Yeah. I think they gave us a sniff at some stage, and then just kicked away again. So we certainly can't get complacent. St Kilda will be out to go absolutely ballistic after, what are they, 3 losses on the trot or something,
and after getting smacked
got absolutely thrashed. So they'll be wanting to prove something as well.
I think we've said it before, and you've watched a bit of footy, I watch a bit of footy, and the people we speak to watch a fair bit of footy and look at the opposition as well. Our best footy stacks up. There's Melbourne.
Yeah.
There's Melbourne.
It does now.
It does now, and it's just that day-to-day or week-to-week proposition of bringing it and having those 4-quarter performances and having the best 22 or the 22 that run out there across the board do their role, which they did perfectly against Freo. And some of the lesser lights stood up and had good games, and O'Brien and Cottrell and Nunes and those guys really stood up. So that's the key to us. Andrew Lake puts it very well: system over personnel, and that's exactly right. The system is there, and execute it and do that every week. And again, you're confident of coming home with a win against whoever.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for those guys who've been around the club a bit, and just seen us getting pummeled on a few different occasions, that the questions would have been asked in those previous regimes that does the gameplay, does the game style really stack up against the best? And we questioned it last year, and probably the year before that as well, to sort of say, well, we're still 3 or 4 games worse, or 3 or 4 goals worse than the best in the competition. We never really bridged that gap, and we have now. And I think for this win, what also makes it momentous is this win against Freo, is in the first quarter, it didn't work in terms of we didn't put score on the board, and they did, went straight down their end, and they kicked a few goals. They definitely had the rub of the green in terms of ball bounce and umpire decisions and so forth. And we just kept at it and at it and at it and at it. And eventually it worked. Eventually it all fell into place. Now, that's not to say that we were completely stagnant and didn't try different things, but with that whole mentality, that whole thought process behind what we needed to do didn't really change all that much.
Yep.
And it worked in the end.
Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. A bit late to start, but we are very happy to be here now. We're going to make this as much about you guys tonight and trying to get to as many comments and questions as possible because you are the show, not us. We're just a couple of guys here, got nothing else to do on a Tuesday night, usually having a beer. I'm having a cup of tea tonight. Johnny's on the waters, recovering from something.
Yeah, well, I mean, like 90% of the population have had some sort of bug in the last couple of weeks, and it's really been a hard one to come back from.
I went straight from the game to my local club's trivia night, and so I got on it there. So I'm still feeling pretty rough. And drinking with a couple of Irish guys, trying to keep up with them didn't help either. Does that sound racist?
I actually did some notes here. That's why I keep looking at my phone, everyone. Not because I'm not interested.
Shane Matthews says Marvel suits our style of game. Think the G doesn't suit us yet to lose at Marvel this year, this pre-season. That's a very good point. We love it under the roof, fast-moving play. We can take it down the guts. Some of our, that game against Richmond, we tried to play in the wet. Our style of play didn't work, but yeah, Marvel is suiting us. We've got a few more games left at Marvel, which is good. And we do finish off the year with a couple of games on the MCG against the Filth and Melbourne. So that'll be good tests leading to the F word.
Yeah, well, if we do end up with F words, we want to get that MCG thing sorted out pretty quick.
We'd want to. Brendan Whitford, what about the club put on social media about Kennedy and the Carlton faithful? Love it. Carlton media are doing super awesome stuff. They've been doing it for the last few years now. Their engagement level is right up there with the best, and I think a lot of clubs have taken the lead of Carlton in their engagement, and they do super good stuff. And yeah, it's platforms like ours, and there's lots and groups now. We love having that engagement with each other as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well done, Rose. You're leading them all well there.
Richie Benakaza, is the Gold Coast game the worst game we played this season?
Yeah, we just didn't turn up. I made the joke. I made it a few times. It looked like we just rolled out the right clubs and put the currency on and got on the ground. We just had no brain space whatsoever.
I think they thought we're on a schoolies trip up the Gold Coast. Look at that back game again, and it's just a silly loss. It's a silly loss, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. God, I'm glad I didn't go.
Bretsky's on YouTube. G'day, Bretsky. Our smalls need to do more. We need to rely on Charlie and Harry too much at times. Got a bit of a different slant on that. I think they're there. I think they're thereabouts competing there at the fall. Durden's always there, and he's getting more involved up the ground. I think what we found in a few games is where Harry and Charlie haven't fired, the smalls have popped up. So I think they're doing their roles. Goals come when you do your roles, so they just click. So, scoreboard-wise, you'd like to get a little bit more out of them, but, relying on Harry and Charlie is not a bad thing. They're there. They're possibly the two best key forwards there in the comp, and when we deliver it to them, they kick goals. So all the forwards need to do is keep presenting, keep at their feet, keep behind, and the rewards will come. Do the foil, take out their big blokes. They've got roles to play to make sure Harry and Charlie kick goals. That's what their job is too.
Yeah. And look, it wasn't working to start off with, us kicking to the two of them and to the three of them when Sauce got in and four of them when TDK got in. And I do agree there that our smalls didn't seem to be on the deck as quickly. But once the small started finding a little bit more space and pushing further up towards the ball carrier, then it gave the kicker those options. And then that's when it opened up for the bigger guys and they could start getting the marks.
Rob Fisher, good evening to you, my friend. Lewis Young is a real Superman. He actually looks like Superman. See him close up. I was fortunate enough to go to the Carlton sponsors dinner the other night. Super, super nice guy. Very humble. Very, very engaging, quietly spoken. You talk about recruits of the year and talking about Chera and Martin and all those kind of other guys. And he's just getting more games he plays, more confidence, just easily taking the number one backman role, no problems at all. But super, super recruit.
Oh, absolutely. And I was thinking when I watched the replay of it, I was thinking of good mate Spud, who's no longer with us, but how he had that award called the Golden Fist, and I think he would have given it away to our boy Young this week, because there was one particular piece of play, and then that he followed it up with a few more. He came from fourth back. And up against a couple of their big guys and one or two of ours, and the fish just came out of nowhere, and it was it was clear, 10, 15 centimetres higher than everyone else, and just beautifully timed. So Golden Fist Award, good on you, Spud.
He's working the ruck. The Bulldogs obviously helped there. He's got a great leap on him, long arms, and he can just come from behind and get the reads it so well and get you're right, Golden Fist for sure. Super stuff that he's doing for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just how would you feel as Footscray now? How do we let that get away?
Oops.
That's a 10-year player. You got that 10-year key defender.
Yep.
Like you very rightly said at the start of the season, Liam Jones,
Luigi, good day to you, my friend. Pitnet got injured in that game early, and Silvani missed with ankle injury. He's so important, JSOS. Plus, Harry got injured also. Pitnet, are we playing the two? Do we play the two ruckman when he's right to go, or is TDK just and JSOS just doing the job?
I'd still prefer to see him in. I still think that he gives us that little bit extra in the ruck. I'm still not convinced of this whole sauce in the ruck type thing. I think he's just doing a job for the time being, and it's a Band-Aid measure for me.
And when he's in the ruck, he's not doing the stuff that he does now. Well, we know how important the JSOS is around the ground. And his contribution, as a link up forward, and how hard he works. So I'm with you. Pitnet comes in for me. We know that now. TDK's this has been a perfect patch for TDK in terms of his confidence. We know he's got the goods. He's being recognised all now through the media about what he can do. He's hitting his marks. He's going back and forward and taking marks. So the tap stuff will come, and it did come and did a lot of good tap work on the weekend, I thought, to advantage. But it's a weapon. He's a weapon. You can put him anywhere, forward or back, and he can upset a few. Imagine him just sitting in the goal square.
We've got connection problems here again. I do apologise, people. We're floating in and out. I didn't quite get that last point you made, Trev. If it was about Pitnet and him being able to float back, I'm in full agreement. That's another reason why I would keep him, because he was doing that very well as well, getting in front of the opposition big tools.
Let us know what you think. Is Pitnet and TDK in the same side for you? Jason Allen loves tackles inside 50, so good, and that's another thing that the small forwards are doing too. They're keeping it in there, and that is good result. So not scoreboard, but that pressure is great. Keep it inside 50. We're really we're a real good opportunity to get a score on the board. Angela Gravina says, let's not get carried away. We played exceptionally well. Our attack on the man and hunting the footy was first class. We need to back up against St Kilda, fired up St Kilda. Yep, true. Anything can, again, like we said earlier, our best team is better than St Kilda. To carry on a vein of form like that against St Kilda, a hard West Coast team, GWS, which have found a bit of form, easily in this comp, this day and age, you can drop one if you're not on.
Yeah,
we'll get carried away.
By the same token, you want to give players enough chance to get their feet on the ground as well.
Brennan realises that I'm not a racist, and he's got the Irish flag up there, and we'll be having a drink very soon, my friend. And good time to introduce Brendan, who's the marketing director of Starward whiskey. And I'm going to pick up a bottle of that. Won some awards at the San Francisco Distillery Award. So get on to starward.com.au, pick yourself up a whiskey if you would like. I'm going to get a couple of bottles there tomorrow.
So this episode was sponsored by
Starward whiskey. I've just got some in my tea now. That's what I'm drinking. Grego, says 10-4, good buddy. Over there in the West, you're looking forward to the West Coast game, I'm sure, coming up, Greg. That will be a very good game, and one again we can't afford to go down on. Connor Wallard, that's a name I know very well, my young nephew. Good evening to you, Connor. Says, seems we can't play us. There's a bit of drizzle, hence the reason we play so well at Marvel, which is the roof against Richmond. Every time the rain stopped, we got on top of the ball again. Yeah, the rain, the wet, you're right, Connor. Very insightful. What are you doing trying to take over my job here at Carlton Live?
We're accepting applications.
We are accepting applications. That's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, good point. It's our game style of play to move it quick, and chain of handballs, get in the guts, and if it's a little bit wet, as we found against Richmond, it doesn't suit us. It was drizzly, like you said, up at the Gold Coast. That didn't help us. So we're going to have to adapt to that, and Vossi will hopefully learn from that Richmond game and adjust our style of play a little bit. But with the way we move the ball, a wet day is going to see a lot more mistakes than would be against under the roof of Marvel.
Well, I think you're both hitting that. Well done, Wallards there. Good on the Wallards. Big W for the Wallards there. I think that we did learn from the Richmond game in terms of in the wet, we were just going for that one too many handballs. And I didn't see that at all in the Freo game. Is that we picked the time to handball, we picked the time to kick, which is what you have to do in the dry or wet.
Yep.
You can't overuse it in the wet, and because, like you rightly said, you overuse, you're gonna stuff it up.
Yep.
Clean that up.
Angelo Gravina says Chera is a starter against the Saints. That's good news if that's the case. Angelo's always good with a bit of mail. He was listed as a test, the same as Martin. We want to get Chera back. Who comes out for that game will be an interesting one. We'll talk about the St Kilda game and selection a bit later in the show. But if Chera's back, anytime we're getting a player back at the moment is very good news, because I think Weeders is a week off. McGovern is a few weeks off still. But if Chera's back this week, we'll definitely take him back for sure. He's a classy starter in our first 18, that's for sure.
Ins and outs, not like for like, but easy one. Chera for Boyd.
Wow, Russell Dobson, Sard or Heath Scotland, mate. What are you trying to do with this?
All right, let me ask that question a different way. This is actually in my notes here. Have you seen in your time watching football a player who can get it from the ground to his boot and to a player, a team player, as quick as Sard?
I'll answer.
So loose ball, pick it up on the boot.
I'll answer Russell's question first, and I'll say Heath Scotland, due to his longevity and due to the amount of time that he's played for the club. So that's why Heath gets the Guernsey now, and Heath Scotland was super on 2 feet on both sides of his body, and some of the things he used to do drilling our full forwards was just phenomenal. But you make an excellent point, and let's not beat around the bush either. Sard is a super awesome player, and we gave away pick 8, and looking back, he would have given away pick 5 or 6 or 4, because he's that good and that important to our defensive structure. He's strong on his feet, closes well. This bullshit about doesn't defend it was bullshit from Essendon supporters crying foul. He's just like he's got a dart. He's got an arrow for a left foot.
Yeah, oh yeah. Look, I think I've done my penance enough with Sard. I didn't like it at the start, but hell, I'm loving it now. But yeah, I don't think I've seen a player that quick being able to pick up the ball so cleanly, put it to boot, and then just nail it to someone. Um, it's almost a freakish ability how quick he does that. But
Jason
yeah,
Allen, good.
I actually
Go.
think that he's learned the defence with Carlton. I think he's really committed to that style of that area that he had to improve on, and he's really committed to that, and it's really paying dividends. So
Well,
let's
he's got a
not take that
license.
away from him either.
He's got a license too. He's got a license to take the game on too.
Yeah,
He when he runs lines, he sets up so many counterattacks for us. It's not funny.
yeah,
Breaking those lines in the way we're going and linking up with our midfield is super important. But he will get back. He will get back and defend. But with that license to do what he wants to do and play a natural game, I think he's found the perfect balance of how we wanted to play.
yeah. He's super player, super player. Go to the audience first, and then let's come back to kicking.
Jason Allen, a good friend of mine, used to play some footy up in the bush in Maryborough. Jason was a superstar country footballer. How good was Cotter's goal? Need for speed. Johnny's eating his words over Cottrell now. I don't know what he would have gone at 100% efficiency on the weekend. He was just super. Obviously we know he can run, but he's got some genuine pace, and he just burnt. That was an important goal to kick at that stage of the game, and it just never looked like missing. And he's even around the ground, he's kicking as well. So we've got our wingmen. We have our wingmen. The argument of Cottrell and O'Brien now. There's no doubt that they can perform at a high level. So it's consistency. Say it time and time again, but they're our wingmen right now, with Chera obviously in that mix too.
Yeah, look, it's ultra impressive, that goal that he kicked. How are the Jets on him? He just took off. No one could get near him.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was a point I was going to come back to. Is Sard aside, is there a better kick at full tilt than Cottrell? And you made the point, he must have gone near 100% if he didn't go 100%. So not take that goal aside. All of his field kicking and his delivery in the forward line at full tilt was impeccable.
Debbie O'Connor, hi boys, I'm a bit late. Congratulations, Deb. Oh no, sorry. How much have I missed? No, we're a bit late too, Deb, so it's all good. We're good to have you back. Pito and TDK, good combo, says Deb. Anthony Walsh, Kemp and Honey came in, did their share. They'll be unlucky to be dropped this week. Kemp hasn't been performing super well in the twos. He's come in and out in the last few weeks and was more than admirable. Honey came in and probably did equal at what Martin's been doing in the previous weeks he's been in. But
fuck all.
hello to Jack Martin, our sponsored player, by the way, who I had dinner with his lunch the other night and gave him a big wrap up. But yeah, good point, Anthony. They will be unlucky for sure. But it's good. They've got those players there, and they should be part of our list. That's why the twos are doing well. That's why we're doing so well, because we've got that system and structure, and they can come in even though they're not performing well in the twos and still do jobs in the ones.
Yeah, look, I thought once Kemp got his feet, he was a bit shaky there in the first quarter. Once he got his feet, God, he was good.
Andrew Lake, not just the smalls. Harry had 5 tackles last week, and that's important too, that the big men are contributing in that department.
So, Andrew's probably the man for this question. What was a final tackle count? Because I know at halftime we're absolutely giving them a bath in the tackles. What did it end up being? It'd have to be double or something silly.
Let us know that, please. Someone will have their foot on the pulse there. Brennan says he's had his critics. Lockie O'Brien had his best game. Hopefully he can take his game to the next level. Running is his strength. His left foot is his strength. That goal was again another important goal. Backed himself in. And yep, let's build him up. And as I said, he's He's been backed by the club, first of all, hasn't he? He's been backed by Voss. I think he's missed one game, was dropped for one game, but I could be wrong there. But he's doing the job for sure.
Yeah, look, yeah, Brian, you said rightfully about 10 minutes ago that the debate's almost over now, isn't it, for our wings? It's that's almost done and dusted. We've got our wingmen. O'Brien's goal, which was just perfect Rovers goal, it really was at a critical time for us. What people forget was just only a couple of seconds ago, he's in the back line and he punched it out of Mundy's hands, and he was about to line up from in front, probably 35 metres out, and that set us on a run to get it down the other end. And he must have done world record time to then be on the end of it to kick the goal. It was a marvellous effort. And another thing I've got to point out too, which you haven't seen of him, where we've been very critical of him, I think all Carlton supporters, is he's putting his body over the ball. And with I think it was 1 minute to go in the second quarter, we'd got up, we'd got ourselves a bit of a lead, and they were coming back, and you just sort of, it's just any second this is going to be a goal. And he's put his body over the football, smothered it, it's gone out of bounds, and we've gone straight down the other end, and it's been kicked to Charlie.
Yep.
For a goal. They just these little things, that he's really, really, making some good strides in this league, isn't he?
Eric Mitchell, thank you for joining us. Your status updates are much better than your show. That's because our status updates are done by artificial intelligence, and when it comes to the live stuff, what you see is what you get. So that's the reason for that. But Eric, thank you for your contribution. If you have anything else, that would be fantastic as well. Anything about the footy, that would be good too. We would love to have you. Please feel free to come on the show as well. We can organise that. Greg, will give us another killer interview at the Eagles game. We can't wait for that. Who else have we got? Boss said 360. The chair was a certainty. Says Brendan, thank you very much. That's good news. Who else have we got? Andrew Lake says our best teams are blessed with outstanding half-back flankers. Sard and Doherty right up there. Doc. He hasn't since he's come back. Is Doherty's first of all is in all Australian form, but he's got to be up there too for our best and fairest form too.
Yeah, I would think so.
Cripps missed a few, but started off with a blazing glory. Walsh is coming to his own. Walshy had about 600 possessions on the weekend, and probably I think it was his highest possession get on the weekend, and is just working his way nicely in to some form, which is fantastic. But Doc's got to be up.
His possession count would have beaten most cricket test team scores.
I looked on Sportsbet. I said, is there a 60 plus possession in their most possessions?
One day.
How good's O'Brien's helicopter goal? Kernahan said Richie Benakaza. Good old Kernahan. He loved the helicopter stuff. Yes, he did. Okay. All right. Let's talk a bit more about the game. Give us your best players, Johnny, and then we'll get into the future and a bit more stuff from our awesome audience.
Yeah. Look, I'll give you my best players, and obviously Walsh was up there, and he took all the honours, but I'm not going Walsh. I've got a dead heat this week for our two wingmen. I thought that they really proved themselves to everyone on the weekend, and they went over and above and did a fantastic job. So I'm going the two wingmen for to share the six votes. How does that sound?
Oh, look, why not, mate? That's fair enough as well.
Yeah, it's our show. We can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. Well, just ask Eric. Obviously, that's part of the stuff that he doesn't want to hear, best players and stuff.
But it's look how dirty were the Carlton supporters, mate? Because they've got to find new whipping boys.
Yeah,
they're going to take the time to find new whipping boys.
It's hard to find a whipping boy on the weekend. There was, as I said, 22 contributors. Really disappointing for Jordan Boyd. Every week there's another freaking injury. I stupidly, and I regret this, didn't think Boyd was a good pickup. I'm eating my words. That's why I don't do any recruitment for anyone. Yeah, he really was looking really good, and a speedy guy, good on his feet, talking about getting his, like what Sard can do, his ball to the boot really quickly. Really disappointing, and hopefully he gets back and figures in. You'd have to think Stocker would come in and offer probably a best on ground performance in the two. Stocker probably gets his chance again to have a crack.
Yeah, fair.
Angela Gravina says Walsh 3, Sard 2, 1, Cottrell, Debbie's Walsh, Doc, and Obi. So yeah, pretty much thereabouts.
I don't disagree with either of those.
No, I think I'm sorry. I think Nunes played a real solid game too. He's in his 200th, and they got around him. Obviously, he means a bit to the group too. Lewis Young, was super. I think he's got to be up there as well.
Yeah. One question I had on Nunes, and obviously not being at the game, I don't see these things anymore. But in the first half in particular, was Nunes doing a bit of a job on Schultz, because Schultz really took us apart. I think, if not the last game, the game before, did he play a bit of a shutdown role on Schultz? Because Schultz got free a bit later on, but you didn't see him for that first half.
Yeah, it wasn't a hard tag. It was a bit of a run with, and we know
Yep.
Nunes can be a tagger and has done that role for us before. So it was a bit of a run with, but with Nunes, he's a hard worker. He does a role and he will work hard at it, and he's very, very fit, and he's a very smart footballer. So perfect guy to do that run with role, and we know he gets plenty of the footy himself.
Yeah. So isn't that wonderful now? As we've been talking for a couple of years now, particularly me. I've been banging on about it, Trevor, and you probably got very, very sick of it. Is that my thought that we haven't for a long time had those back pockets, and now we've got likes of Nunes playing that role, Boyd's playing that role. You've got Stocker to come back in. Newman's a half psychotic, I'm sure of it. When as soon as he steps over the line. And it's just a really great mix that we've got. We've got those wonderful tools. We've got those wonderful halfback flankers, and then those guys who can play those back pocket roles. It's pretty comprehensive.
Pretty comprehensive is correct. This is an interesting question, and I appreciate Gabriella. Jesus, Gabriella. Osa Lechner says, Gabriella, please tell me Ed will feature this year. I don't think she's going to like the answer.
Well, the way that we're getting injuries, he probably will. But if we stay injury free from here until the finals, he'll find it tough to break in, and he like anyone else will just have to earn his spot.
I'll ask you this question in a second, but I said that I was worried about him, and I thought he might put his hand up to retire mid-season, given how good we were going, and I got a bit of a whack about that. And Ed's a competitor, and he wouldn't do that. He wants to get back and play, and of course that's true. But there's his love for the footy club, and whether it's best for the footy club to do that. If he comes back, he's got to come back through the twos. Of course, he's got to find some form. He's running out of a fair bit of time. His position is a mid or a wingman. And at the moment, he's not ahead of Hewitt. He's not ahead of Chera. He's not ahead of Kennedy. He's not ahead of O'Brien. Cottrell and Nunes, potentially, he goes in there depending on their up and down. He's a remote chance. He's a remote chance.
Is he ahead of Cripps?
Moving right along.
Actually, serious question back at you here. Would he be a strong candidate, say that he's playing great football and everything, to take that Jack Martin, Josh Honey role? Because hard bodies in finals are absolutely necessary.
You know what? That's thinking is outside the square. That's thinking very much outside the square. He's a much loved figure. He's a competitor. He was playing some really, really good footy last year when he was a bit, got a little bit more freedom and got a little bit more exposure to the middle. There's a knock on his disposal. That's always been there. But what a competitor he would be in the finals. It would be a fairy tale. Someone said here that I think Phil's saying Phil Axgade. Phil says Charlie can't wait for Ed to get back. It would be a fairy tale. It would be a fairy tale. I'd say probably not.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's in wrap up. It's not looking good. But when you said Phil, it reminded me of another thing. Bad news that we got today is in terms of Philp, who's got another injury, and I think he's pretty much done and dusted for the season, which is a real shame.
Yep, real shame. We'll get back to this probably in a few more shows, but in terms of our list in general, it's going to be we could spend a whole show analysing our list and the contracts, where everyone's at, who's going to get a new contract, who's going to get extended, where we see our list happening, who's going to get new contracts. It's going to be really, really interesting given the fact that, we're performing solidly. The twos are performing solidly. The blokes that are coming in as backup defenders and they're coming in, it's potentially as our second tier players are doing well. It's really going to be an interesting time to see where we go. We'll probably do a special show on that at some stage later in the year. Talking about defence, Andrew Lake is spot on there. Big tick for Aaron Hamill in how he's moulded that defence. He'll be a good sounding board when it comes to the Saints too. He spent a bit of time there, obviously, so he'll know all about them coming up this week. But yeah, good point, Andrew. Our defence is humming, and everyone had written us off because of losing our our significantly good players in Wiedering, McGovern, and McDonald down there, and again the structure has held up, and the players that have come in have handled themselves more than admirably. Angelo Gravina says Charlie and Harry TDK need to be signed up. Bit of media around that this week about how much money they'll be commanding. I've got a bit of a feeling that that's not going to be too much of an issue. I think this group is after something special, and I don't think it will be chasing the dollar from someone else. And I think they'll be prepared to look at their contracts for a bit of success and to spread the loot around. So I'm not too concerned about that side of things when it comes to signing up these big names, Johnny.
Yeah, look, I had a bit of a laugh at that actually for two reasons, three reasons actually. Nick Austin has been nothing but commendable for the job that he's taken. He's no dummy. He would have run the numbers way back when. To how we're going to fit all these players in, and we've signed Walsh on, we've signed Cripps on, we've signed XYZ on. He knows that there's a little bit in the budget there, and you and I picked this 3-4 years ago. If we can pick it, mate, surely the powers that be know exactly how much these guys are going to be worth at the peak of their careers. Jack Martin's number comes down hugely, so I don't see it as a big problem. The third part of this, it was only 2 weeks ago on another station, someone was saying Carlton's going to bring in another gun because we've got room in our salary cap. So what do you believe?
Yeah. Those things will take care of themselves, and we've also got the brown bag under the table idea to when things go astray.
Yes. All the best to Stephen O'Reilly if you're watching.
Very good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Love doing this show. Love speaking to you guys. I'm getting out to the footy, and I'm running into a lot of you guys and seeing you and seeing a few of you at the supporter function, the Guernsey function of the other night. Getting to know you. Getting to know you over Facebook, chatting over Messenger, doing this kind of stuff. It's how Johnny and I met, of course. It's how I met some of our really good friends here that are regulars on the show. Who can I mention? Debbie and Brendan and Andrew, of course, all of you guys. It's a really great connection that we have, and it's just a lot of fun. Ricky, Brendan, Scott, really appreciate you guys coming on the show. Greg, of course, making friends not only in Australia but all over the world. So I've got people coming over from Japan in a couple of weeks where I'm going to catch up with. So it's really, really cool.
Great. Is that Julian?
That's Julian. Yep.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I'm going to take him out for sushi. Okay. Jason Allen says, not Blues related. Shane Cunnington did his calf at North training today. Probably cost him getting back this year. That's pretty sad. He's obviously had the same issue as Doc with the cancerous issue. So that's pretty sad as well. Okay, let's move along. Since we're a bit late, we better move on to the St Kilda game. Has anyone else got anything to say? Let us know. I'm sorry if we've missed anything. We're trying to get a lot to talk about. Brad Miller's there says, "Hey, Lockie, son Lockie asked how good was Walshy. Yep, superstar. 41 was his best numbers. I think someone will tell me."
And again, from Lockie, how many goals will Charlie kick in a grand final? In the grand final, I like that. That's power and positive thinking right there.
Good on you, Lockie. Someone said to me today, "Don't get too far over your head of yourself." And I said, I'm looking forward to seeing TDK and Natanui. But I think that's a good little thing to have an eye on. Of course, we want to go week to week, but they're good little things to keep an eye on too. And nothing wrong with dreaming about getting into the granny.
We've had enough years of nightmares, so why not?
Very good, my friend. Very good point. Very good point. Okay, St Kilda comes along, and they got shellacked. They're going to be always. Why do we get a team that's under the pump? Essendon are under the pump. We pump them, but that's they're a give me. St Kilda are a little bit different. They've got a few weapons. I think we cover them in the midfield. Darren Darren says a good point. How do we stop Max King? Lewis Young will probably put his hand up and say, "This is how we'll do it," because I'll stop him.
Yeah, I'm more worried about our new Angus Momfries in Tim Membry, the guy that only plays well once or twice a year, and that's when he plays Carlton, and then earns himself a new contract. So I'm more worried about him, to be honest.
Yeah, look, if we covered the two Fremantle talls quite well. I thought I don't necessarily rate those two well, but they've been performing okay. They're definitely not Max King and Tim Membry. I rate them more than I do the two Freo talls, Taberner and Darcy. So I think it's going to be a harder job, but it's a job that I think Lewis Young has proved himself to be well and truly up to. We know that Max King's going to kick possibly 3 or 4. That's fine. We've got our own forwards and they've got their own forwards to worry about. So, again, midfield dominance translating into a good structure down in defence, translating into a 4-quarter effort from our 22, Charlie and Harry kicking a few goals, and it's a simple formula. That means we win most weeks against most teams.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. How do we stop Max King to stop it from going down there?
That's exactly right. And that's what we've been doing. And our structure is working so well. Our structure in defence, Andrew Lake said it before, it's really, really holding up, and they're covering it. We're not getting when we've been beaten, of course. Richmond beat us, Collingwood beat us, but they didn't kill us. They didn't destroy us. We lost those games possibly rather than they won them. So we've got them covered, and our midfield have more than got St Kilda covered. And I think our two big guys, in Harry and Charlie, can easily take apart St Kilda's defence.
Yeah, look, absolutely. You'll be watching, and I'm sure they have all the coaching staff be watching the last 3 games and just see what is wrong at St Kilda, what is taking them apart, and you'll be trying to incorporate that into your game style as much as possible as well, knowing that they're fragile in I don't watch their games, so I don't know. But they're fragile on this way, or is it just purely a form thing?
Yep. Angela Gravina says, flood down back, same as Fremantle. Give our mids go and help out. That's been a good strength of ours. We have got our mids working forward and back to help out. TDK goes back there to help out if needed. Silvani's been going back to help out if needed. Kennedy can go back and help out if needed. We've got a side that runs both ways.
Yep.
Kate Deslinko joins the show. Good evening, Kate. Thank you for joining us. It's been a while. Thank you for tuning in. Johnny, let's move on to the game, like I said, and love to hear from everyone else on who they think will be the ins and outs this week. One forced out, which will be Boyd. Again, we said that's disappointing. Who's coming in for you, my friend?
Like I said, I think just one change. I'm loath to leave out Stocker, but I'm also loath to change the team up too much. So I'm not going like for like, but I'm going out Boyd in Chera.
Boyd and Chera. Okay, that's a very good point. I think they'll probably bring in Stocker. I think they want to try and hopefully get some games into Stocker. Chera may come in for Setterfield, and then you probably put someone like Honey as the sub, maybe. That's probably my tip. I'm not sure if Owies will be available. Sorry?
Yeah, that's not a bad shuffle.
Owies will probably possibly be available. Did the team thing and pulled out last week with a calf strain, which was really, really good of him. At the last minute, Motlop came in and did all right. I think they'll probably, bring Owies back if he's okay for Motlop. Motlop's going to be a good long-term project for us. He'll have plenty of time, but I think Owies is ahead of him right now. The interesting one will be whether they bring Martin back. I think Honey did enough. I'd be disappointed if they didn't give Honey a bit of a continuity crack at it. I think he did enough. It's a hard spot, that half-forward line in Carlton's team, because of the transition footy we play and the way we want to try and get it into our big forward. So half-forward is a hard spot to play, and the stats don't you don't get a lot of stats playing there. Anthony Wall says Kenny had a cork thigh, might be worth bringing in Dow. That could be an option too. They're probably the two players that are looking on each other's spots, and I think happened last time Kennedy came out with Saw, Dow came in.
Yeah, I think Voss pretty much dispelled that in his presser after the game. He said, a scans aside from Monday, it's just corkies and he'll be right, type of thing.
Yep.
Not words to that effect. Sorry, go on.
David Kirkpatrick says the same as me. Honey needs to play. Yeah, I'm with you. So yeah, I think it will be Chera in, Setterfield out, and Boyd out, and Stocker in, and yeah, they might and probably possibly Motlop and Owies coming in for each other as well. Kemp was another one that possibly might be the sub. Maybe they'll bring. Maybe they'll put Kempy as the sub and to bring Stocker in. Don't know, but then Stocker also brings that extra. Sorry, Kemp also brings that extra tall. It'll be interesting to see.
Selection nightmares, aren't they brilliant? And with 18 players out, we've still got selection nightmares.
Yeah. And look, you can't. You look at the twos form, and they're doing well and winning games. But then again, you possibly wouldn't have picked Kemp on form. You brought Kemp in to fill a role, and he's done it. He's done it really well. It just shows you that our list is really solid. And like I said, we could talk all night about a specific list management and where our list is and where these players are. In the overall scheme of things. Richmond won 3 flags based on a extremely strong list and a competitive list, and the fact that they had to work hard and a healthy list as well helped them to and a good structure between their twos and their ones, and they won twos premierships and they won senior premierships, and they stuck by that list for a very long time. So potentially we're not going to see too many changes on our list. Bringing in the best players.
Yeah, there's not this year. There's not the long list of immediate sackings that come to mind, is there? It's just, you'd be very loath to turn over a few players on the list, which you've got. I think you got. You'd be very loath to do it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think you're probably talking about Ed retiring. Poor Tommy Williamson, who's off for personal reasons at the moment, and hasn't got a contract next year. Is probably one. There's two names I could probably go to immediately. Maybe there's probably a couple of others come to mind. As I said, we'll probably talk about that another time.
Yeah, fair enough. There, that could go well on to midnight. Sort of discussion.
Since we're late tonight, I need another cup of tea. Okay, everyone. Friday night it is against the Saints. Who will be there? Who wants to catch up? I'll be there, and hopefully I'll sit in my normal spot this week, so that'll be fun. And what are you predicting, Johnny? And what are you predicting, audience?
Carlton by at least 6 goals, purely by virtue of the fact that our coaches would have done their homework on why St Kilda have been so poor for the last 3 weeks, and they'll just find a way to to take their game style away from them and just keep that foot on their throat for at least another week.
Yeah, the whole buy-in about a team under the pump. Our club and our coaches aren't stupid, and they'll address that. We'll call another. We'll call on our mids and our team again to win. If they're going to win and make finals, they need to win these games, and they need to win them comfortably. They need to get it out of their head about this bullshit and this stuff about teams having a crack at them. Every team's going to have a crack at them. Every team's under the pump every week for a win. St Kilda are going to be doing that. So some really good club psychologists and a good coaching group down there need to get that out of their head, play our best footy every week, and our structure and our system will prevail.
Perfectly said. If we're going to figure in that last dance, from now until then, every club is going to have a crack at us.
And don't read the newspapers.
Yeah.
Okay, Greg says 40 points. Russell Dobson, another 30-point win. Richie Minakaza, 14 points. Brad Miller, hope Young can do a job on King. That'd be very nice. Darren Famillo says 25, maybe more, is a bonus. Andrew Lake says Carlton respectively belt St Kilda by 6 goals. I'll respectively take a 6-goal win. I know you haven't. Go on.
Sorry, mate. That sounds like a headline from Scotty Palmer in the 80s. Carlton respectively beat St Kilda by 6 goals.
Look, I'd like to respectively beat St Kilda by 10 goals. I'm sick of being respectively beaten by St Kilda over the last few years. A nothing side, a nothing team, and so I want to smash them. Brendan Whitford, just a W, please. Another 4-quarter performance and put them to sword. Understand how you feel, mate. W's are good. Russell Dobson makes a really good point. Still ready yet to belt anyone. Freo's probably our biggest win. What is our biggest win? North Melbourne, maybe? Probably.
Yeah, possibly.
And Debbie just took the words out of our mouth. An increase to our percentage would be nice if it's coming down to that. But we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves. We shouldn't talk about belting sides. Wins are wins. We've caught up, and me and you've been caught up in getting too ahead of ourselves when it came to the Richmond and Collingwood games. They made me eat a little bit of humble pie. Again, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying going to the footy. The atmosphere, you're not going to the footy, Johnny, but the atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. Everyone's up and about. Carlton supporters are up and about. There's so much enthusiasm. Hearing the song, just engaging with the other fans is really great. Getting off the ground and getting into the lift and the stairs and listening to the Carlton supporters belt out the tunes. It's really good stuff.
Hey, look, you can hear it through the TV, and you can see the smiles on people's faces. That animation is back again. You haven't seen that in years. So you can feel it all the way up here. But if anyone's around the Noosa area, you're having a bit of a holiday, or you're going to come up from Brisbane, I'll be at the Villa Noosa, having a bit of dinner there, and then heading out to the sports bar out the back to watch the game.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so yeah, I'm going Carlton by 10 goals, and that will be very, very nice indeed. But a W I'll take as well. Andrew Lake, Jared Waitley. Jared Waitley, he's turning into a Carlton fan. You probably don't hear him now anymore, but he's turning into a Carlton fan.
2 weeks he won't be.
Thank you very much for joining us. Very much appreciated. Loved tonight's show. Loved your contribution as ever. You guys make the show, gives us something to talk about. Otherwise, we'll just be talking our own crap as we mostly do. But thank you very much, everyone who's joined the show. Great stuff. Really appreciate it. And we shall be back next week, Tuesday night, God willing.
Good evening, all. Good evening, Trev.
Good evening, Johnny. Good evening, everyone. Have a good night. Go Blues.
Go Blues.